Okay. All right. So, Pastor, we're going to start. Okay. Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Adventist Asia Podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, well, we have a series of long-form content called the Adventist Asia Podcast. You can find us on YouTube and also on Spotify. If you want to learn more about how our church workers are aligning and strategizing the best practices for our church here within the region of the Southern Asia Pacific, you can learn more within this podcast. Our previous podcast, it was with Pastor Kaderma. We talked a lot on the directions that he's been taking in leading our church here, and also some of the strategies that are taking place for mission refocus and also of the direction of our beliefs within the region. And so today I'm excited to be with Pastor Elder Wendell Mandolang, who is our Executive Secretary here at the Southern Asia Pacific Division. Pastor, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Tony.
Well,
thank you for inviting me for this program.
This is not an invitation, Pastor. You are supposed to be here. No, I'm joking. Yeah, thank you so much, Pastor, for taking the time out of your schedule to spend a few moments with us. As I shared in the previous podcasts, a lot of our leadership, they don't see much. Maybe only the sermon part. If you travel, they hear you when you give a sermon, but they don't get to know you or know the decisions that you're making, here for our church. But I know you play a valuable role as our executive secretary. Could you share a few thoughts of what are the things that you do within that department of the secretariat?
Thank you, Tony. The secretariat is a part of the administrator, and we focus on several things. Actually, in the secretariat area, there are three we consider three areas that we focus on. One is the administrative area. Secretary is part of the leadership, together with the treasurer and also with the presidential, to work together to drive the mission of the church. That is first area. Second area is the technical area related to the minutes, agendas, and actions, writing, and everything. And that is the technical area of the administrative, of the secretariat, the technical area of the secretariat, dealing with those things in the local churches about the members and to the missions, the union, and also in the divisions.
So this is the records.
The record, keeping the records of the membership and everything happen in the work in the church. And the third area is about missional area. So many people thought that secretariat only working behind the desk, behind the closed door in the room, but actually we involve also in the mission. There are two areas for the missional. First, internal. Our missional for internal, make sure that all names that was written in the membership record book in the local church, the role of the secretariat and the church clerk to keep them faithful by reviewing their names and working with other local churches to do the visitations, nurturing aspects, to keep them inside, still in the church. And missional also for the secretariat, they have external, the outside, going outreach. That's why in the local church, even the church clerk and us, we are, must participate in the mission activities, outreach program, direct, quote-unquote, evangelism, even the church clerk and all secretariat team. That is the areas that we are doing. And for the secretariat, if we look to the manual of the secretariat, we related to the policies and regulations. That's why as a secretary or executive secretary and the secretariat team, the secretary is the guardians, interpreters, and the implementer of the policies. That's why all of the secretariat team, they must be familiar or knowledgeable with the policies, regulations, and guidelines.
Yeah. So
all levels of the
I
church.
see that balance. I mean, there's three of you in our admin. We have our president and our treasurer, and then you leading that. I see now that it's I'm just expressing this in the sense that sometimes we think it's just work, but you're actually dealing with people.
Yes,
you're dealing with the members, even though you might not be directly in touch with them. You are managing this data. That's a lot of work, Pastor, right? And so that's why you have such a big team.
Yes, we have a big team.
and you were sharing as well about outreach. Is that why global missions and Adventist missions is part of within your department?
Yeah, that is the reason they reorganize the structure. Before, Adventist mission is under the presidential. But several years ago, in the General Conference, they reorganized that one. Adventist mission now is under Secretariat to support the missional area of the Secretariat.
Gotcha.
Through these Adventist mission activities.
Yeah, because I now that I'm thinking about it, you have AVS under
AVS,
that as well.
Under that one.
That's why. And at the same time, that is people. I mean, you're still organizing people.
Correct. Organizing and mobilizing people.
So, Pastor, I mean, you hold this responsibility, but what's some of your background? Like, how did you become a working person within the Adventist Church as a pastor?
Okay, maybe first things that I can share to you who I am in this case. I graduated from the theology course, Bachelor in Theology. Actually, it was my personal decisions. Looks like an inner calling. When I graduated from my high school, something came to my mind. I want to go with these directions of the service ministry. My father is a pastor, but none of them, my father and my mother and my siblings, none of them asking me to take the theology courses.
So you weren't forced, basically, Pastor. This is you. You had that calling.
Yeah, it was mine. Though when I told them I want to go to these directions, quote unquote, looks like they did not support me because they knew my personality, my capacities, my talents, my personal lives. Yeah, they said you are not fit to that calling. So I go with the family's decisions. On the first year of my education, my college, I enrolled in the accountancy.
Oh, really? Okay,
just to follow the family decision. But for the first year, for first 2 semesters, I can go with the courses, the elementary accounting, but I felt that no, this is not my passion. So the second year, I transferred to the theology course without informing my family because I informed them. When we vote, I will be. I cannot win, so I have to follow. Yeah, in a family vote. So I just tell them. I'm not fail in that course, but something in my mind that this is not my passion. So please accept my decisions. And they support me. They support me at that time. They said, okay, if you feel that God is the one who calls you, go ahead. Never stop or do not quit. So I receive a support at last.
Just to see that from that inner calling that God has given to you, you have a great responsibility. Pastor, knowing that you are in a leadership position, what could be some of the lessons that you wish you learned earlier as being a leader?
Yeah. Now I am already 42 years in my ministries and 20 years as a church pastor or district pastors. I started as a district pastor back in 1981. I started that ministries as a church pastors and district pastors. Never dreamed that I will be like what I have now. My dreams is only as a church pastor. But I learned something in my college time that I have to learn English. As you know, English for Indonesian is very rare. Only few people in Indonesia can speak English. But I have in my mind, I have to learn English so that I know I can learn many knowledge with this language because all the books and resources are in English.
Correct.
Unless you have to wait the translation to Bahasa and then you will read. So that is my quote-unquote my passion so that I can know more information with my English and I can preach better to my congregations, my parishioner. I can teach them, guide them to be more faithful because of more knowledge that I can acquire with this English. So I learned English personally.
So those are the things that you learned really early. I mean, that's benefited you in your leadership.
No, I never dreamed that with better English, I can be be elected, something like that. I never thought that. My focus only to give better services to the congregation.
That's a good point of view, Pastor. I mean, being who I am as well, like sometimes I get caught up in maybe the social understanding, like, oh, you need to prepare yourself for this and for that.
Correct, yeah.
And sometimes you just need to ask yourself, what do I need to learn now so that I can be better of what I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
Correct. So
Just for this time.
Yeah.
With the responsibility that entrusted to you, try to do best.
Correct.
To do best. And don't worry about it. So that is my life. After 10 years as a church pastor or district pastors, I was elected as a mission director, departmental directors. For 4 years, and then they transferred me to another mission, from Kalimantan Mission to Jakarta Conference.
You were based in Kalimantan.
Yeah,
Pastor.
I started my ministry in Kalimantan Mission. Almost 15 years I was there as a church pastor, district pastors, and departmental directors. And then the call came to me to transfer to Jakarta Conference. Jakarta Conference. I grown in Jakarta actually, but first started working in Kalimantan.
I see.
I spent another 10 years in Jakarta as a church pastor. Just with the same idea, do as best as I can to serve my congregations. And later, they elected me as the executive secretary of Jakarta Conference. That is my journey of this leadership.
Yeah.
Never thought, never dreamed about it. Just do as best as you can.
Yeah.
One day at a time.
Yeah. That is a good motto, Pastor. Because, like I was saying earlier, maybe the reason why we're taught in society that we need to think about the future is because of maybe motives and ambitions, right?
Ambitions.
Yeah, I don't think ambitions are bad, but at the same time, being good stewards right now with what God has placed in your hands, God will lead you down that path.
Correct.
Right.
There's a different understanding or principles in our lives if you compare ministry and other profession. Okay? In other professions, you need to have a dreams. You need to have a goal because you want to become better and better.
Like promotions.
Yeah, for the promotions.
That
is normal. But in the ministry, you need to remember that it is a calling. A calling. If it is a calling, you believe it is a calling, it is not you that decide your future. It is God will decide what you going to be.
I just remembered a topic that I had when I was still part of youth ministries. The topic that was shared to me that I needed to talk on was about how do you know what God's plan is for you? You reminded me right now. I illustrated it, Pastor, as God's plan is like a puzzle. You don't see the whole puzzle. You just see the pieces.
You only see a piece.
Yeah, and you need to put those pieces. So you have to focus, like you were saying, focus on what you have right now. You're building that. And then one day, you are one of those witnesses. You are now someone who leads a division. And you've now spent those years putting those pieces together. And God only knows the bigger picture. Right? Good.
So that is my steps of my leadership in the ministry.
So, Pastor, you recently you just returned from the General Conference's executive meetings. What are some of the highlights there for your department or your part of the church?
For this mid-year meeting, last spring council, first we focused on the working policy to remind all the secretary team worldwide to focus on the policy, to remind all leaders in every single level of our church to comply with policies, with the policy.
If I'm not mistaken, Pastor, you had a recent meeting, right? I mean, you had like a conference for all the
summit,
was
working
that part
policy
of that?
summit, secretariat summit, to show us how the process of making the policy. If there's some items that you need to put in the policies, there are some process.
So it's basically standardization, making things are properly done in the right way. Looking forward, Pastor, what are some of the highlights or what do you foresee in this coming mid-year for our division? What do you see happening?
Based on the Spring Council in GC, that is one aspect for the Secretariat. And the second one as a whole is the what we call it, the challenges. Maybe you can sort the challenges that we face based on the survey in the world.
Oh, the research and also the data.
Yeah. The data from ESTR. There are about between 20 to 30% of our church members worldwide. It happened in every single divisions. That the trend that the understanding of our distinctive doctrines were decline.
Okay.
Because there are 20 to 30% members, even church workers, and even ministers, pastors, with some doctrines they misunderstood, not 100% understand the biblical teachings about that particular doctrines.
I think in our previous talk or the previous podcast with Pastor Kaderm, he mentioned something about death. I mean,
the state of the dead.
The state of the dead.
There are 20 to 30% of the members, even workers, misunderstand about the state of the dead. They still will understand maybe because of their previous beliefs that when people died, when the people died, the body was there, but the soul immediately went to heaven.
So you're right. It could be that, us being here in the Philippines, it's a fundamentally Catholic background.
Correct.
Right? I mean, how about in other countries, like Indonesia? They also
the same
have,
also, yeah.
Really?
This is the same also.
I mean, does that come from a Christian or from because I know it's predominantly Muslim in Indonesia. Is there some beliefs from the Muslim beliefs that are incorporated in some of our Adventist? The misalignment or the misunderstandings.
Not as strong as from the Christian background, but they have also the same, almost similar understanding about the person who died. Yeah. If you are a good person when you died, you will go immediately to heaven.
Correct. Okay.
If you are a bad person, then you have to go the process. Process and process in the hell, and then at last you will be there also. So
that's where we now it makes sense to me.
So that is the issues that we brought to this coming mid-year meeting, that agenda.
So is that in line with some of the updates that we received from the admin last week, that there's going to be a new position? Is it a new position, or a field secretary is not yet applied here at the division? That's why we are now having a field secretary.
Yes. When these items were discussed in General Conference in GC Spring Council, GC came with the initiative. They established, collaborate with Andrews University for the cohort program, PhD. Every divisions will send one representative. So there will be 13 students, PhD students, to address these issues. But this will be for next 5 years.
Oh, so not now.
Not now.
They have to study. Okay.
Yeah,
it's
that now. This is the plan.
Yes.
The plan. So every division need to send their representative, arranged by the divisions through the selections. The divisions committee has a special committees for the selections. Every division need to send 3 candidates, and GC will choose one. So there will be 13, and they will go for the full study program, cohort program, and soldiered or funded by GC for next 5 years to address this issue. The idea means the issue was here now, but with this initiative, then within 5 years,
the solution will come. Yeah, the solution is delayed. We know the problem. But the solution
looks
is delayed.
like delay. Though the GC leadership leave these issues to every single division's leaders, and I am glad with Pastor Kaderma, who just talked to 3 of us instead of waiting 5 more years. Why don't we just execute something? We arrange, we choose someone, and wait after 5 years, and then if this person ready, then we will rearrange. At least we can address the issues that happen in our division, because even in our division we also have that kind of issues. That's why while we were still there, after that information were released and we discussed, Pastor Garma immediately said, we will immediately choose someone for this one as a field secretary to address these issue immediately.
I mean, like the terminology, Pastor, field secretary, is there a meaning to being a field secretary? Because I mean, being here at the division, it's my first time hearing it at this level.
Yeah. If we call the field secretary, means he has special assignment for the special issues that he will address.
In the field. That's why they call it field.
Yeah, field secretary. So he will work on these special issues or special things that we need to address or we have some challenges. And he will be responsible to the president.
I see. So this is, I mean, I'm assuming being part of that position, that there's a lot of training that will be going on.
Correct, yeah.
For our ministerial staff from our unions, conferences, and also.
So he has to work with the union and mission and institution to do the training on this doctrine, to remind them or teach them again about these principles.
There's another side, Pastor, because you were saying that you're handling people and the data of our members. I recall that in previous years, or almost every year, I do see a report from the GC talking about our losses in terms of membership. Is this connected with losses, the development of having a field secretary? Do you think this is going to be a solution or part of the solution to, helping our retention programs?
Yeah, I think this is also part of the issues that, as you know, that some of our members, because of their misunderstanding about the doctrines, not fully understood about the doctrines, they were easily to be
go a different path.
Go a different path. Yeah, that's why this also were established because of that one, to address that one, to keep our members faithful, nurturing them, and also retain them, keep them stay in the church. Because there are also certain percentage of our members leave the church because of their doctrinal issues, their understanding.
Yeah. So aside by having this field secretary as part of the solution, do we have any other programs that you're running right now or is part of your department that is to support the retention or to help, retain our young people in the church today?
It will be done in the local church through the church clerk. One of the role of the church clerk, part of the secretariat, to review every single names of the church, the members in our membership record books. So in the manual for the church clerk, every 6 months at least, the church clerk need to review every single names in his membership record book. Whether they use the book or they use the SEMS, Adventist Church Management System, the church clerks need to review it. And the role of the church clerk for these retention activities, out of those names that he review, he must put them in 5 additional, what we call it, auxiliary list, additional list. Yeah. Then they have to the group that membership into the first group. They said the members with regular attendance. Oh, brother so and so, he's a regular attendant, so he put his name here. And then the second one, those who are irregularly, unattend the church regularly. Let's say 1 year, maybe they only, or 6 months they only attend 1 or 2 times. Because the church clerk should know their members. This is the role for the retention, nurturing aspect. Maybe before, many of the church did not understood that they are part of this. So they put the second group, those who attend the church irregularly, maybe because of the disability, sometimes. They will find it later. And the third group is those, what you call it, on the transfer in or transfer out. People are processing, transfer to other churches, or those already worship with us for several months and wants to transfer their membership. So the church clerk knew the situation. He put those, the third group. And the fourth one is those who are, if there are, those who are under discipline. Either what is the discipline, whatever conditions, if they're on process, the fourth group. And the fifth group is those who don't know where about.
Not the missing, but
We do not use missing word.
It's not what is it?
There's
another term.
We don't know whereabout.
Yeah, the whereabout. Okay, I remember there's another term for that.
Now we use the term.
Those are people that were baptized at that church,
yes,
but no longer
in the church.
Yeah.
The church clerks knew that they are no longer in the church, so they put there first, and then this fifth list after review. There should be a committee in the local church. They establish a committee, membership audit review committees. Yeah. There are the pastors is the chair, and the church clerk is the secretary. There should be one elder, and then also the Sabbath school department and deacons and deacons, at least 7 to 9 members. So this committee will review the list that prepared by this church clerk. And every 6 months they have to review it.
Yeah.
And after they review, let's say first time they review it, and then the church clerk need to put in the bulletin board, those names, whereabouts, no whereabouts, that we don't know where are they, but the names are there. So they should announce that, ask the members, those who have the contact number of this person or Facebook.
So it's like a
account.
family thing. I mean, they have to work together. Yeah.
So this also will be reviewed every 6 months with the idea that those even we hear about, you don't know where are they. Once we got the contact number, the church clerk will work together with these committee members to contact them and make a regular visitation. So the church clerk plays significant role now with this retention program. He should motivate the church board members to have a regular visitation schedule initiated by the church clerk. This is the missional area of the secretariat in the local.
Yeah, this also opens up the possibility, because if they do that systematically, every 6 months or so, it also helps the members, the active members, become aware.
Correct.
That they have a part to play. And also the implementation of existing ministries like Pathfinders or Adventurers, women's ministries. They now have a more significant reason to exist, because if there's some people that they could reach out to in that list not no whereabouts, they have a target audience immediately, right? Because I do, with my local church or that I grew up in, I do know that they spend a lot of time in the evangelistic planning, but I don't recall us having a meeting
for the nursery.
Yes, for that.
Yeah.
And so whenever I come visit, or my mom will tell me, so and so, that person's not here anymore. But I'm thinking, don't we have a program? But this is it. This is that program.
Actually, it was written in the church manual, but now GC released one handbook guide. Church clerk guide. It was included there. The role of the church clerk, in the local church.
Good. Maybe for the younger generation, they can see how our church is trying, not necessarily new strategies, but a newer strategy of revisiting the policy and revisiting these type of committees, showcasing the importance of it. And this all comes from the data that we have. Seeing how archives during their reports, during the sessions, I see it wakes you up, like, this is how many people we have lost or cannot find, and then seeing that from the secretariat point of view, there are things put into place that allows us to revisit those people and be part of our Sabbath program. It's not just going to church on Sabbath morning, right? But we integrate some of these solutions in our Sabbath activities.
This emphasis because of the recent survey that out of 10, let's say if it is 100, 39
left the church.
The church. So almost 40%.
Yes, correct.
But now looks like the retention is increased because of this. Besides Sabbath school activities, sure, they are very strong also, but inside the secretary, inside the church clerk also involved with this one to collaborate together.
That's good. So, Pastor, we've talked a lot about your leadership and some of the strategic decisions that the administration has made. Would you have some encouragement for our churches and our members as they reach out to the know whereabouts in our local churches? Now is your time, Pastor, to maybe encourage them.
I think for our church members, please remember that you are not in the church alone. There are some of them working or worship together with you. And as you know, if they leave the church, it is not happen only one Sabbath or the 1 week. It is gradually, slowly by slowly. So as you attend the church, please look around to see your fellow church members. If see some of them are not there, do something to reach them. Do something to contact them. That's why when this initiative or these activities happen in your local church, participate. If you know someone who are in that nowhere about list, if you have their contact numbers, share it to your church clerk so that the committee can follow up and reach them before they leave the church. Before they totally lost, we have to do something. That is for one issue of the retention that I would like to share to the church members wherever you are. And secondly, please participate actively in the outreach program. When there is an evangelistic meeting, we need to participate. Please don't misunderstood about the evangelistic activities or only for outsiders. Actually, when you spend your time to attend those evangelistic series, review the doctrine that was shared that one. It will strengthening your understanding about your doctrines and strengthening your faith about those biblical beliefs or Bible teachings. With this one, you will be kept in the church. You will not be part of those 20 or 30% groups who misunderstand about the distinctive doctrines. So if in your local church or district there is an evangelistic meeting, arrange your time, join with them, support the program. At the same time, you can learn more about the biblical doctrines that we believe. So I think this is part of the retention and also participate in keeping our members to stay in the church together with us, waiting for Christ's soon coming.
Thank you, Pastor, for your time. Well, that also ends another episode of our Adventist Asia podcast. And I just want you to know that you being a local member or us being local members at our churches, we have our own mission. And our own mission field can be just our neighbors and also even our sitmates who may not be there anymore. So we encourage you to be active in your churches and knowing more about how our church works. I hope that gives you pride and joy as you serve in your local churches in any capacity, in any ministry. So again, if you have not yet followed our Facebook or our Instagram, please do to find out more updates about what's happening within the region and also to get access to the next podcast that will come out soon. So until next time, God bless.